Hello, this is In the Court of the Wenton King. I am Kev. I'm a reviewer on In the Court of the Wenton King.
And I'm Sam. I'm also co-reviewer on Court of the Wenton King.
And what are we doing today, Sam?
Well, we are going into new territory for this channel. I think we've been a little bit intimidated by this for a while, which is why we haven't done it.
Yeah.
But today we are going to do... what's it called again? The Definitely Maybe by Oasis.
Yeah, the Definitely Maybe. It's a high quality album. Me personally, I love this album. Music was never the same after this release. Not really. It's heavy, isn't it?
Heavy, yet with shades of light.
Yeah, there's a light and there's a melody, but it's just the wall of sound knocks you over from the guitars. It's so much. It's powerful.
Yeah, it's very powerful. I mean, I'm thinking back to the time that this actually came out. I mean, we were coming out of an incredibly dark time.
Yeah.
And when this album came out, even before hearing it, just when you picked it up off the shelf, you got the sense that things were turning lighter, things were turning great. Britain was becoming interesting again. It was the soundtrack to a nation.
It was.
Being shaped by Tony Blair, actually.
Very cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, and it was green. The album was green, and that.
It said something, didn't it?
It said, yeah, that told me personally. It spoke to me personally that the grass is greener, things are going to get better, and the songs. It's just about the songs. Every single one of the songs on this album are as good as anything this century. That's why they got compared to the Beatles. They are the Beatles too.
Well, I mean, I've been thinking about this recently. Are they the Beatles too, or was it such that Paul McCartney was really worried about the Beatles' legacy around about this time because Oasis were surpassing, in some instances, the Beatles.
That's right.
And maybe he was trying to reimagine the Beatles as the real successors to Oasis in the past.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I actually think, Oasis were going beyond what the Beatles ever imagined they could achieve. And this really upset Paul McCartney, which is why he kept saying Oasis are just the Beatles.
Yeah, yeah. His comment was, you could see the fear because he said he liked them. But he said if they're going to do something derivative, it might as well be something I'm involved in. But what he really meant was, this is... Oh, no, it isn't just him. They're transcending them as well, and that's why... I think that's why they did the anthology. That was his Paul McCartney's sort of response, his fight back. But they couldn't, that's the thing about old albums is the technology isn't there, and that means we all know the better the recording quality, the more powerful the music's going to be, and that's why newer music is always better. And coupled with the songwriting, maybe even surpassing Lennon and McCartney and George Harrison.
Yeah. It's a combination of the words, the notes, and the gaps between the notes. I mean, it's the gaps between the notes where they really get, where they really stake their claim for something that's truly great.
It's truly.
It takes such confidence and bravery to put those gaps there, but when it works, boy, it really frames the emotive channels of the music.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Very cool. You put it on. You put the album on, and I remember the moment I put this album on. 1994, and it was miserable. I was 16. It's not a fun time to be in, but you put this on the moment Rock and Roll Star starts. You're in for a treat, and by the end of that song, you feel you are a rock and roll star.
Yeah, exactly. It frames life in a way that no other music or art can.
Yeah,
it actually changes you from something quite benign, very mundane, into something fantastic and beautiful, and you're sharing this with everyone else.
Yeah,
it is something truly amazing, that opening track. I mean, that is probably the best opening track on any album, any time, ever.
Yes, yeah, and in any dimension, all right, there can't be a better opening track. It is the ultimate opener.
Yeah,
and you can just compelled. You can't put one song on from this album. You have to listen to the whole album. You have to.
So if you're going to go into the Socratic world of forms and look at a song opener, you would see that track.
Exactly. it explodes. It explodes.
It explodes, and yet centers your mind in peace. Yeah.
It's
It's like a wave of a comforting wave of peace washes over you.
Yeah, that is on fire.
Yeah.
A wave of peace that is on fire.
It makes your fingers tingle, doesn't it, when you listen to it?
It does. Yeah, it really does. It really does. You know, Liam.
Liam redefines what good vocals are.
Yeah,
In the traditional sense,
He does.
he wouldn't be considered a very good vocalist.
and yet everything changed.
Yeah.
Well, you know, and we've seen those videos. I can't imagine what it would have been like to sit there. We saw him in that small little rehearsal studio. Even with the bad recording quality, the energy in that room. If that was recorded in surround sound, it would have been dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been dangerous. So it's kind of good that it wasn't, because it was just like a wall of sound. The energy in the room that life would have been different if that had been recorded in surround sound.
Oh, definitely.
Noel.
Well, Noel, again, traditionally wouldn't be considered. His technique is not what you would traditionally call very good, but as I'm listening to the music, I can feel sort of my emotions coming through his fingers into his guitar, out of the amplifier, over the airwaves, into my brain via my ears, and down into my heart. And I have to say, nothing has touched me quite like Noel's guitar playing. And I have to say, I think he's probably, at this point in his career, he's probably the best guitarist in the world.
Yeah, well, it's all about self-expression, you know, and we know what feeling is, and we know what a guitarist feels when we hear it.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that that's the best guitar playing because we can feel it.
Yeah, because essentially they change the rules. You know, you speak to any reviewer and they talk about how well they play the notes, what notes they choose to play, what words they say, and how insightful they are, and how it speaks to you. But what Oasis showed us is that is all secondary when you've got attitude.
Yeah,
It's all about attitude.
pure attitude. Incredible, just
Think
incredible.
about that.
So yeah, you know, Liam, Noel, but it's a band. You know, there's 5 people in this band, and we have to speak about all of them. The other guys,
Yeah, the other guys, they were there.
they were there. The rhythm guitar. He in many ways is the essence of Oasis. Unforgettable. He's unforgettable.
Mm-hmm.
As for the bass player, it's the best bass playing. It's just the best bass playing.
Mm-hmm.
And crystal clear. But especially that drummer they sacked.
Yeah,
Great stuff.
I think it was the way he hit the cymbals.
Yeah, we like hitting cymbals.
Yeah, very good, very good.
Yeah, and yet the thing is, you know, and we've reviewed so many albums over the course of like 3 or 4 years. We all know the more obscure music is, the better. We know that. But this is the exception, because it is obscure. It is truly indie, and yet stadium-filling pub rock. It is both of those things simultaneously. It does both of those things.
That's very interesting that they can pull that, because theoretically that's not possible, is it?
Theoretically, yeah.
But
and yet you put this album on and you realise it's true.
Yeah. And, you know, it kind of undermines the case for experts even further, because we know experts are not very clever.
We've had enough of experts.
Yeah. So Oasis are evidence that you shouldn't listen to experts.
It is evident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are self-evident.
An independent film.
Brought to the masses
Yes.
via sonic vibration.
There is a political edge to the lyrics. Or maybe not the lyrics, but the lyrics and the music make you political. And again, you know, albums have been political in the past, but this one, it probably got Tony Blair into power. That's how powerful this was. and the world changed when Tony Blair got into power. You know, the whole world is a more comfortable place as a result. That's the power of music.
It's interesting to think that had Oasis sort of formed maybe 10 years later, that most likely Brexit wouldn't have happened, because Britain would have been a more beautiful place. Yes. It would have been a more accepting place, and we would have all been rocking out.
Seriously rocking out. And you know, we wouldn't have even needed to take our coats off, even indoors, even on a hot day, especially not on stage. But just imagine, okay, you're sitting in a lonely cottage. There's clouds overhead. You know, you can feel the rain. You can hear the patter of the rain, but you can feel the energy of the rain. You know, pop the TV on, turn it back off again. There's a knock at the door, but you don't answer it.
Wowzers.
I think one of the most breathtaking moments about this album is the Slide Away, the final song. It's just different. There is nothing like this in the world, and yet you can't explain it. I can't explain it. I cannot explain that song. It is so unique and so special.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Slide Away. I don't really want to go into this, but I was going through an incredibly dark period of my life, and you know, this was after the album came out,
right? And
I had listened to it, you know, and I knew the album inside out, but I'd never realised that there was this gem on the end of the album, and I just happened to hear it on the radio.
Goodness me,
yeah, and it turned my whole perspective upside down.
Life changing.
It was a life changing moment, and now that particular song is my go-to song whenever I'm feeling low or happy.
Or happy.
Yeah. So if I'm excessively happy or excessively low down, and I want to, you know, level those out, normalise my emotive status, that Slide Away. Slide Away is the song I go for, and I'm surprised there's not been more of a movement around this song, actually.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean, we're starting to see it introduced into psychologists' clinics.
Yeah.
For people who are struggling, and they're having astounding results, ridiculous, unbelievable results. You would not believe the results that this track is getting in psychologist clinics around the world.
It is.
I mean, this is a worldwide phenomenon now. But yeah. For some reason, people aren't discussing it. I suppose it's the medical firms. They can't make any money out of it because essentially all you've got to do is play CD or a vinyl. Get the vinyl version. The vinyl version is...
You need the vinyl, yeah. You do.
Yeah. So, Slide Away is not only life-changing, it is changing the world.
It is changing life.
It is changing life, yeah.
Yeah, evolution is going to take a different path as a result of Slide Away. I do recommend also listening to the songs in reverse. Start with Slide Away, and then make your way backwards through the album, and it will take you on a different journey.
Well, I've actually listened to the album backwards as well.
Well,
and it makes perfect sense.
It does make perfect sense. Yeah, you can hear the lyrics. There are two messages on this album: a light and a dark.
Yeah, a yin and a yang.
Or a yin and a yang, which is a new, more powerful version. A life-changing moment.
Yeah.
You know, millions of years of life on this planet, and somehow we've managed to evolve to the point where Oasis were able to stand on the shoulder and ascend. You ascend, you know. Where Tales from Topographic Oceans failed, this succeeded. And you know why Liam has the posture he does? If you have a graph, okay, and you've got energy on the one side and you've got time along the bottom, it's because he's going like this. He's pointing the graph upwards. Heavenly. Very cool. Very cool.
And yet by doing so, they're creating heaven here, heaven on earth.
Wow.
And they're taking you with them, with the music. They're reaching a hand out. saying, "Come with me, come see heaven, experience it, so you know what is possible."
Very cool.
Very amazing, actually.
Yeah. I mean, we could call this a 6-egg album, but I think it's going to be our only 7-egg album.
I think egging it demeans the album slightly.
It does.
I don't think I'm not comfortable giving it an egg rating.
No, it doesn't deserve it.
It's beyond. I mean, it's beyond an album.
It's like we said, it just transcends everything, right?
Yeah, it's a way of life. It's an interpretation of life. It brings everyone together. It modulates the space between us.
Modulation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to egg it, but officially we can give it 7 eggs.
Okay. Yeah. You have to balance the 1 egg on top of the pack of eggs.
Yeah.
So it is a balancing act. That's the problem. That's why we can't egg it, really.
Yeah.
Okay. No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind. And Oasis is faithful. They will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, they will also provide a way out so that you can endure it.